Fantastic turnout. Yes. I'm Scott Granger from the Center for Suicide Awareness, and again, we thank you all so much for your support. While the band is taking their break, we'd like to bring up Brittany Cooley one last time so she can share some of her experiences with you, and then we'll get back to the band. Thank you again.
Hi everyone. Thank you so much for having me. It's such an honor to be a part of such an amazing cause. This is a cause that is very near and dear to my heart for many reasons in which I will tell you all about. I want to introduce myself. My name is Brittany Cooley. I am here with you today from New Jersey. I'm very thankful that the Center of Suicide Awareness had me come out to talk to all of you today. I'm a health and fitness coach through Beachbody. I don't know how many Beachbody people I have. You know what Beachbody is. And I help people transform their lives through health and fitness. So changing themselves to be the best version of themselves that they can possibly be, to live the best life that they can. Through Beachbody, thank you. Through Beachbody, I've been able to lose 56 pounds. I quit smoking after 11 years, and I've been able to turn, thank you so much. I've been able to turn my life around. I suffered from severe depression and anxiety, and I'm actually a future published author. I'll be publishing my book, Strength Personified, which will be published in the spring of 2017. So today I want to share a part of me with you, part of my story, and why I'm here, and why I'm representing this cause. So thank you so much for your time, and I'll just tell you a little bit about who I am. My story actually begins 19 years ago when my mom had a nervous breakdown. So she was very successful. She was intelligent, very smart. She was the executive director of a nonprofit organization. We had a big, beautiful 5-bedroom home with a pool. I was spoiled. I had everything I ever wanted that you could have in like 1995. We had all the things. And we wanted for nothing. But she struggled severely from depression and anxiety, and she didn't have coping skills. She didn't know what to do when life got hard, so she just shoved it in. And one day, she broke, like most normal people would. So we lost that big, beautiful 5-bedroom home, and we had to move in with my grandparents, which is fine. I had wonderful grandparents. But you know, she had problems, and I just thought she had to get better. It was just me and her against the world. It's always what it was. She always said that to me. So we were on a new journey together. Fast forward a little bit, in January of 1997, I got off the bus at my grandma's house like I did every day. I was about 8 years old. I was 7 years old. Got off the bus, and my grandma asked me where my mom was, and I was like, I don't know. I just got off the bus and came home like I always do. And later that night, my aunt came to pick me up and said I was going to be staying with her for a little while. My mom got sick, but she was going to be, she was going to get better. I just had to live with her for a little bit. No problem. So it wasn't until years later that I found out what actually happened to her that day. She had been medicated for depression. She had 2 antidepressant medications that she was taking, and she took both bottles in attempts to commit suicide, to take her life by suicide. She was found face down in the snow. It was January, northeast PA, so very snowy, very cold. The EMTs pulled her out of the woods just in time. She was severely frostbitten, hanging on by a thread, but they saved her, and she made it through physically. She looked like my mom, and she sounded a lot like my mom, but her mind was gone, and she mimicked symptoms of schizoaffective disorder. If you don't know what that is, schizophrenia. You have delusions, you hear things, you see things that aren't real, that aren't there. The chemistry was severely damaged in her brain from that overdose, and she was never the same. She was never that successful superwoman anymore. She was gone. So fast forward a little bit more, the next year, I was in 3rd grade. It was my last day of 3rd grade. She picked me up, and she was like, we're gonna go to the beach for a weekend. My grandparents approved it. They thought it was a great idea. I was getting my mom back. She was getting better, and I was excited because it was gonna be me and her against the world again. And we never made it to New Jersey, the tour where we were supposed to go. We ended up in Pensacola, Florida for the next 5 years. The first 3 years were okay. We moved down there with adjustments. My family was upset, but they saw that we were okay and she was doing fine. But she burned through her retirement that she earned when she was a successful executive director, and we ended up destitute. And then 2 years in, she cut off all contact with my family, and we were homeless, and we lived in our car. I went weeks without eating a decent meal. I went months without a shower, a place to sleep. But I stayed with her, and I'm sure many of you are like, why didn't you reach out to your family? I could have, but I knew at a very young age that she was sick, and I knew what I had to do to make sure that she was going to be okay. I knew that if I left her there alone, that she would die. So I chose to stay with her and fight with her. worked. We were warriors. We were together. That's what we did. So I turned 14 and I'm tired. I'm tired of struggling. I'm tired of being hungry. I wanted to go to school. I'd missed 4th through 8th grade. I hadn't been enrolled. When she was asked about it before, she just said she was homeschooling me. I was tired. I wanted home. I wanted a life. I missed my family. So I made a decision to write a letter to my father, who had been looking for me for 2 years, and reach out and ask for help and tell him, where I was. So fast forward a little bit, I got picked up from Children and Youth Services very quickly. I was put into foster care for 2 months before the court settled and I could be sent back home to my dad. I made the decision that I had to leave my mom because I wanted to eat. I wanted to be taken care of. I wanted to be a kid. I didn't get to be a kid. I was tired. So from being picked up from Children and Youth Services and then put into foster care, my 2-month stay during foster care wasn't so great. I was exposed to both physical and sexual abuse by my foster siblings, and I was really missing that car. And really regretting the decision to leave my mom. But everything turned out. The court settled, and I was sent on a plane to Scranton, Pennsylvania, where my dad picked me up, and it was okay. I had a beautiful home and a bed and my dad and my family back, and I was going to be okay. My mom remained in Florida. She didn't want to come home. She didn't want to, so we couldn't make her. So let's talk about school. I missed 4th through 8th grade. That's kind of hard to go from 3rd grade to 9th grade. That doesn't really work. So the school district was like, we don't know what we're going to do. You're going to have to be put back very severely. You're going to be behind. You're not going to graduate when you're supposed to because it's just no way you're going to do that. And I said, oh, yes, I am, because I'm really stubborn. So I was like, I'm going to do whatever it takes. So my aunt pulled some strings. She let them give me a chance, and I did it. I graduated in 2007 with my high school diploma on time, like I was supposed to. I didn't, thank you. I'm really proud of that high school diploma. It was like a C average, but I'm really proud of it. Really proud of it. Not bad for missing 5 grades, right? So my mom's still in Florida. So I wanted to go to college, and that was going to be hard too. They said, you're not going to be able to go to college, Brittany. You can't take SATs. You're terrible at testing. I got terrible scores twice. But I was determined to find a way to go to college. So I found the Educational Opportunities Program, Lock Haven University, and I was admitted into the fall semester after taking summer classes and passed. So I figured out a way to go to college because I wanted to go to college for social work. I wanted to be a caseworker. I wanted to work for Children and Youth Services, and I wanted to help kids that went through things like I did. I felt that was my purpose. My life had been really hard. I missed out on all my childhood. Never really excelled at anything because I didn't have the chance because that was ripped away from me. So this was my thing. It was going to be my thing to save people and help kids. Like, I struggled. So I made it through freshman year of college. Day before classes started, my sophomore year, August 23rd, 2008, got arrested for underage drinking citation. I was like, my dad's going to kill me. Oh my God, crap. Well, 2 days later, I got a phone call. And it was Pensacola, Florida Baptist Hospital. And they said that they found my mom at 83 pounds, and she was destitute. A team of doctors worked on her for 6 hours. She was given 6 pints of blood, which is as much blood as you have in your body. And they just couldn't save her. She was dead. Boy, did that make me feel like a bag of crap. Yeah. Because I left her, and she died, just like I knew she would. And I was drinking, getting drunk, getting arrested when she was dying. And I didn't. I had no idea. She wouldn't talk to me. She got out of contact 6 months before she passed away. And I had no idea. So I internalized that. But again, stubborn Brittany just got through it. I put on my pants and I just decided that my life was hard and I just had to get over it and I didn't have to deal with anything. So I went home. My mom's body was flown up. I buried her. I went back to school 2 weeks later, met with the dean about my underage drinking, continued school because now I really had to be a good social worker. I really had to be a great case manager because I had to help all of the kids that I possibly could. Because if nothing else, that had to be my thing because I had nothing else going for me at that point. Right? So I graduated in 2011 with my bachelor's degree in social work on time, like I was supposed to. Also really proud of that. And I got my dream job as a case manager 3 months later, and I was really proud of that because you have to go through the state of Pennsylvania. That's kind of difficult, but I figured out a way to make it happen, and I did it. And I was really excited because I was finally going to have purpose. I was going to put value into the world like I was supposed to for my mom, to help kids, make me feel better about the things that I had failed. Not excelling in anything, leaving my mom and her dying. That was all my fault in my head. So yeah, so I got this job, and I was really excited. And I got 3 months into the job, and that light really started to fade because I hated it. I realized that I was not cut out to do that job. It was bringing back too many memories. I was stressed out. I was dreading going to work. I was like, this is not what I'm supposed to do. I spent my entire life suffering, not good at anything. There's nothing else I can do because I'm terrible at math, and anything else requires math, except for social work. Just saying. And so I didn't know what I was gonna do. I felt like failure, like big time. I failed my mom. I failed my calling. I wasn't good at anything else. I couldn't do anything else. I had no value. So that light went out really fast. Because then I never dealt with any of the things that I went through. I just kept going. I just kept putting my big girl pants on and just keep going through it because I'm stubborn. I don't like to need help. I'm the answer finder. I don't need help. I don't need to lean on anybody for support. But I was really tired. I was exhausted. My depression and my anxiety really built up. I had gained 35 pounds in college because I binge ate and binge drank my way through my emotions. That was my coping skills. So I gained a bunch of weight, so it was super unhealthy. But it got to the point where I didn't even want to eat, which is huge because I love to eat. I didn't want to drink, and that's really big because I loved beer. And I stopped smoking cigarettes like 4 days. Couldn't go without those either. I just lost interest in life. I quit going to work. I was lost. I was done. My lights went out. All this pain, all the suffering, everything that I'd been through my whole life just kind of started to pile up, and I just didn't know what to do with it. So I realized what I had to do. I found my answer, and I was really happy because all this pain, all the shit that I had been going through was going to be over soon. It was going to be done. It was all going to be over. I was going to be happy, and I was going to be with my mom again, and it would all be over. My struggles would be done. So on July 17, 2012, woke up, kissed my boyfriend goodbye at the time. He went to work, I didn't. We worked at the same job. And I made a cup of coffee. And I cried because I kind of felt sorry for myself that my life had come to this, but I knew it was going to be over soon, so I was happy, sadly. I wrote a letter to be left in my side, but I ripped it up and threw it away because I didn't want to be dramatic. I figured that my family would expect this from me. You know, poor Brittany, she had a hard life. Ended up just like Mom. I didn't add any value, so they would get over it quickly and move on. Because I really hated that person that looked back at me in the mirror. I really hated her. I was not proud of her. Wasn't proud of anything she was doing. She was not worth anything in my mind. So I went into the kitchen and I grabbed a knife, the sharpest one we had. And I don't really know. I don't really remember too much other than the big puddle of blood on the floor. The next thing I remember is the EMTs and the police breaking into my apartment violently, by the grace of God, and put me on a stretcher, put me in an ambulance. I really didn't want to make it to the hospital alive. I was hoping that something was punctured severely to the point where I wouldn't make it. But I did. I made it to the hospital. And they put me on the ambulance, out of the ambulance, onto a stretcher, into the emergency room, prepping me for surgery. They're cutting my clothes off of me, and I'm just, waiting for it to be over. And I was still, just wanting it to be over. And a team of doctors were getting ready to prep me for surgery. The anesthesiologist is over here with a mask, getting ready to put it over my face. And one of the doctors leaned over me, and he asked me this question. And he said, "Is there anybody that we can call for you?" And in that moment is when all my light came back real quick. I thought of my dad. I gotta tell you, I love my dad. My dad is the best man in this whole world. He had done nothing but look for me, find me, take care of me, give me everything I needed, put up with all my shit in high school, and I put him through all my shit in high school. He did nothing but love me unconditionally and give me everything I needed. And he was gonna get this phone call. And those tears, I saw those tears burning his face. And I saw him burying me next to my mother and being left alone. So I told that doctor, I was like, you had better do your job and save my life, because you have to call my dad and tell him I'm so sorry. And I love him very much. and then lights went out. So I woke up at 3 a.m. in the ICU. I had 26 staples in my stomach. I had tubes coming out of every hole in my body. I had an epidural in my back for the pain. But I was alive. I was alive. And I told that nurse. That nurse was really annoyed by me too, probably. But I told her, I was like, you had better do your job, lady. Make sure I live through this because I have some serious things to change. Because I knew it was miserable in life that I was living. I had to deal with all that. I had to look my fears in the face and deal with all that shit that I didn't deal with my whole life. I was gonna have to make big adjustments to my life, and it wasn't gonna be easy, especially in a small community. I'm from a really rural area. Everybody knows everybody. So everybody knew what happened to poor Brittany, everyone, and I'd have to look at all of them. I knew that wasn't gonna be easy, but I decided that I was gonna get up, like I'm stubborn, like a warrior, and I was gonna do it. And I was gonna make my life the way I wanted it. So I stopped giving a shit what people thought about me, and I started to do things that made me happy. I ended relationships that made me feel bad. I quit my job because it wasn't my thing. So I found a new one that was my thing, and I worked in adult mental health case management for 6 years after that. And I left. And then fast forward a little bit, I moved to New Jersey and I found Beachbody because I was still 56 pounds heavier than I am now and still drinking to cope and smoking. You know, I was healthier and I was making decisions that I wanted to. I wasn't, being a doormat and a victim anymore, but I was unhealthy and I needed to change some things about that. And wasn't, I was 25 and I was looking in the mirror and I'm like, you are not sexy. Like, you need to do something about this because this is the time that you need to be sexy. So I found Beachbody and I found the programs and I lost 56 pounds and I gained confidence. But the most thing that my health and fitness journey has done, and I know a lot of, I've been announced as this Beachbody girl, this Beachbody coach, and I am very much so. That's my job. It's my full-time job, health and fitness coach. But the most thing that my physical transformation has done for me is strengthen my inner self and help me beat depression. Because when I got out of that hospital, I was diagnosed with major depressive disorder, and I was put on a ton of medication. Because when you're depressed and you're on depressant medication, you're on a bunch before you figure out which one works. So I went through that. I had to go through a ton of therapy. I had to really rebuild myself. And I'm proud to say that I have built the Brittany Cooley that's standing here in front of you. I've built her. I've built my life the way I want it to be because I was given a second chance to make sure it was the best. So if my mom was alive, she would be happy to living next to me. So if I can leave you guys with anything, if you don't remember this Brittany girl that stood up and talked to you, if you remember anything, just use your struggles as your strengths. Know that whatever problems that you face, there's an answer. There's always an answer. There's a solution to every single problem that you face. There's always hope. It's never, ever too late, ever. You need to lean on your supports. You need to talk, and you need to deal with your shit. It's not easy, but God, it's worth it. And if there's something that you want in your life and you don't have it, why not? You need it. You can do it. You can do anything. And as I was telling these kids when I had the opportunity to speak to Kimberly High School, I was telling these, if you guys have dreams to be an NFL football player, there's a lot of football players in the class, I was like, you need to do it because you can. You can make your life whatever you want it to be. You can create your life. You have the power to do that. Because I made a realization in that hospital. It would have been really easy for me to just roll over and just be taken care of the rest of my life. Poor Brittany. That's what everyone was saying. There's rumors going around my town about me trying to cut out my unborn child. They still, to this day, they think that. But I realized that nobody was coming to save me. I had to save myself, and I had to figure out how that was going to work. I had a choice, and I chose to live, and I chose to live a ridiculously happy life because I deserve it, but everyone deserves to live a ridiculously happy life. Everyone. So that is going to be in my book. That's a very big part of my story, but my book, Strength Personified, will be published in the spring of 2017. I really thank you guys and appreciate the opportunity to share my story with you. You have to just, life sucks, and it's gonna knock the living crap out of you. It probably has already a few times, and it's probably gonna again. But you have to hold on to what's good. There's always good. There's always good. For those of you who are writing today because you lost somebody to suicide, I'm so sorry. I know what you feel because I feel it every time I look at my dad. I feel regret because I made a big mistake. But I want you to know that it's not your fault. You couldn't have done anything, because when you experience that darkness, when you were there, when you're really there, you don't see anyone else. You don't ask for help. You're done. There's no light. It's gone. I'm very lucky that my light got ignited, and I'm very lucky that I had a second chance to be here, because this is my mission. Now it's my job, and I travel and I speak and I share this hope and I share inspiration and motivation with people to get the most out of their life, because we're not guaranteed tomorrow. We don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. And for those of you who are struggling with thoughts of suicide, or have struggled with depression, and think that it's too bad, you can't fix it, you can. Like I said, there's a solution to every single problem that you face. There's an answer to every question that you have. You just have to look for it. You have to find it, because you will find what you go looking for. Because I found all my answers. It hasn't been easy. It's not easy. Success isn't easy in anything. Getting over beating depression isn't easy. It's a bitch, like a really big one. But you know what? You can do it, because I'm standing here as the Brittany Cooley today. I'm a public speaker. I'm the CEO of my own business. Failing business 101 in college, almost failing public speaking 101 in college, begging the professor to pass me because I was terrified to talk in front of a crowd of 4 people, let alone how many over 100 is here, you know, and I am completely medication free. So if I can turn all of my shit into this beautiful garden, because I have a beautiful life and I'm so thankful for it, if I can do that, literally anybody can do anything, because I didn't have good cards dealt to me. I didn't. But I just made a choice to make it happen. And if I can do this, then anyone can do anything. And I want you guys to know that, and at least take that away from me today. But thank you so much for your time, and have a great rest of your weekend. Thank you.